My name is Aziz Balouch. I'm a human rights activist and I'm a coordinator for International Voice for Missing Persons in Canada. I was executive director for Balouch Community of British Columbia Society. It's a non-profit organization. I'm a co-author of The Longest March, Balochistan Struggle for Human Rights and for Self-Determination. And also, as a producer, I produce some human rights program with the help of my good Canadian journalist fellows, Sean Forbes, based in St. Marie, Ontario, and Kyle Ferguson, another journalist based in Vancouver. So we did quite some work about the human rights in Balochistan. From 2000 onward, there was a major military operation in Balochistan. It was conducted by Pakistani army. And actually, that's the fifth one. From the day one, as you mentioned, in Balochistan was forcefully occupied in March 27, 1948. Similarly, we call it Western Balochistan. That's also occupied in 1928 by Iranian rulers, Pahlavi Shah. So from that day, Balochistan always been ruled as a colony, not as an equal partner, as an equal representation. And that's the main reason because the Baloch people never been treated as equal citizens. Balochistan is rich in natural resources. And I give you only one example, the natural gas. It's discovered in 1952, about 70 years. The beneficiaries is the dominated province, Punjab, and the Pakistan army. And the Baloch, the native Baloch who live in the perimeter of that natural gas plants, they don't have the natural gas to use. They walk for miles to collect the woods for their cooking the foods. These are all examples, but I will go from 2000, that major operation, because that and this brutal military operation, they started enforce disappearances and the extrajudicial killing and political leaders assassination. And from that day, the Human Rights Watch, the International Human Rights Organization, and Amnesty International, they documented. They also released their reports about that. There was torture. I gave you a few examples. During the torture, they electrocuted the in custody innocent activist, and they put them upside down and marked in their naked body with the knife, with their mutilated dead bodies. And also the sleep deprivation, these all tactics they use against the in custody when they were tortured. So the arbitrary arrest and enforced disappearances, these are right now more increasing. And that's the main reason the Baloch recently, as I think mentioned to you from the ground, the Baloch, it's called Baloch Solidarity Committee. They walk from Balochistan all the way to the capital of Islamabad, Pakistan, wanted to convey their message where the all international embassies are. That's the capital of the state. So they they did the long march with the leading by a Baloch woman, the human rights activist Dr. Maran Baloch, with her team. And with this march, the majority of them, the Baloch women, because Baloch has a history of secular liberal values. So they came here and they reached they convey their message even to the UN officials in Islamabad. And also the all victims enforced disappearance families were with them. So they stay over there for more than a month in front of the National Press Club of Islamabad. Some families have their loved one 20 years ago enforced disappearance. and still they don't know where they are. They don't know nothing about them. So they are never been presented to the court. They never been charged. That's why I say it is a needle in the haystack for the globe, for the international community. So this is the since the Baloch human rights activist came after this military operation to the Western world. So they are the one they started this activism. I gave you my own example. Since that military operation started, the one permanent Baloch leader, Nawab Akbar Khan Bukti, he was a former governor. He was a chief minister of the Balochistan. He was assassinated. After that, another permanent Baloch leader, Mir Balach Mari, he was ex-provincial assembly member. So he was killed by the Pakistani army. And after that, there was three Baloch leaders. One, the head of his peaceful political party, Baloch National Movement. So Ghulam Ahmad Baloch, and his two friends, Lala Munir and Shir Muhammad, they were forcefully abducted from inside and the court from their lawyer office. Further, my own family member, he was a teacher, Safir Baloch, with two other fellows, one student leader, Agha Abid Shah, and another teachers, Abdul Sattar Baloch. They were forcefully abducted in the parameter of hospital. He was going to see a doctor. Actually, he was a kidney patient. And when they were both three of them abducted, and after that, after few months, their dead bodies were found in a river. And when they were discovered, their dead bodies were not recognizable. Thrown acid on their bodies. When I talked their family, the mother could not bear the pain. The Baloch activists, when we started our organizing rallies, in here in Vancouver, in BC, behalf of our community, I organize rallies. When we started passing on the information, many people even didn't know, as you say, about the Balochistan issue. I set up information booth in the University of British Columbia, in the Simon Fraser University, where we distributed the flyers, information, and the academic stopover we discussed there. They didn't know that. And even I met with the member of parliament, parliamentarian in here. I provided them their documented proof of the human rights organization, made the copy of Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International reports, plus our own from the ground. So they were not aware of. So this is the way we say we are successfully, we let the world, we're the amplify that issues further all through Western country. And our multiple Baloch human rights organizations are doing a great job. They are doing meetings in the UN corridor, holding seminars. Many human rights organizations, they submitted in the UN working group. It's where you submit the enforced disappearance cases. From the beginning, we did so many other organizations have been doing this. And from the ground, there is an organization, Voice for Baloch Missing Persons. From the day one, represent the Baloch victim families. They are sitting in the protests for almost more than 15 years. And they also presented their report to the UN. So this is the way we are struggling. We are moving forward. We mostly want to really convey our message to the Canadian public, civil society, human rights defender, to speak up, because this is the same situation when the world knows about Palestine issue, about the Kashmir issue, because obviously in the UN floor, the states speak for them. Balochistan is the only place, because even the Muslim countries, within Muslim countries, they do not speak, they do not know. And those two states, both, the Islamic Republic of Pakistan and Islamic Republic of Iran. They are both UN member state, and they are violating the UN Universal Human Rights Act. That's actually the case right now. That's why we call it Stop Baloch genocide. And on one hand, from the day one, they deprived us from our natural resources. And also, they are looting. Balochistan is very rich in terms of natural resources. Balochistan is the 44% mass land of the whole Pakistan, with less than 10 to 15 million population. And the whole resources beneficiaries are the dominated province Punjab, and I would call it Pakistan Army. We, since more than 70 years, we don't have any benefit from our own natural resources. And we are culturally, economically being suppressed. And right now, the international community, international companies who are involved in these major projects, one is China. The benefit goes to the federal government, and also the benefit go to the Chinese. And right now, our Canadian, one well-known, the mine company, Barrick Gold. Barrick Gold also now had an agreement with the Islamabad, with the Pakistani government, without consent of the Baloch leadership, without consent of the Baloch people. And it has a project. It is one of the world's big copper and gold mine project in Balochistan. So what happened? The benefit goes directly to Islamabad, to Barrick Gold, but the people who live around, they have no water. They don't have the drinking water. Forget about the healthcare from school. And that's the same region the Pakistan conducted 4 nuclear tests. Since from that test, the implication, which is honestly, it is unbearable. The native Baloch people who live there, nomad, now they are suffering from multiple diseases, cancer, all these issues. Another area of Dera Ghazi Khan recently, many people are, because of the open uranium the Pakistani government does without consent of the region, without the local people. So now the people are dying through cancer. These are all the facts on the ground. And there is no independent investigation, independent team. International, in Balochistan, it is a media blackout. The international media blackout. Why? Because the Pakistani army and the federal government wants to cover up to the international media. Thanks God, right now, after this 5th military operation, when the Baloch themselves came to the Western democratic countries, from North America to Europe, anywhere, when we have a very large number of committed activists, they are making this, highlighting to the world. And now, this way, our message is somehow, we are very positive. As you questions, what is the positive side? That's the positive side. We believe our message is going through. And 1971, the same army, with the 3rd military operation, they killed 1,000 Mari tribe Baloch, and where the largest natural gas reserves are, because simply they did not allow to exploit their natural resources without their consent. And the outcome was, the report says, 6,000 Mari tribes, they were killed by the Pakistani army. During that time, the Shah of Iran supported them militarily, financially, to genocide the Baloch. And the tribes of Mari with the permanent Baloch leader, Nawab Khair Bakhsh Mari, exiled to Afghanistan. They lived for decades there. And that's why the permanent Baloch leader, Nawab Khair Bakhsh Mari, put it this way. It says the Baloch is a nation, and Balochistan is divided in 3 countries. Iran, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. And right now, the powerful ruler of those two countries, right now, near future, will genocide the Baloch people. That's why he explained further. He said, whoever wants autonomy from this unfair democratic system, this is their choice. But I want the self-rule and sovereignty of my own Balochistan. Why? Because when British left Balochistan has a sovereign independence. When they left, Pakistan came, they occupied by force. Iran came and occupied by force. Baloch resisted. Baloch resisted. This is the history of Baloch. They resisted for their own. They wanted to save their 9,000 years old civilization, to preserve their language, their culture, their resources, and their homeland. This is the risk right now. Right now, what's happening is an Iranian part of Balochistan. The reports and the videos that are just coming up from the social media and our friends and those who are leading there, according to them, the Iranian forces are abolishing the native Baloch homes without their consent. They want to bring a large population to put the Baloch people in minority, because over there also the same thing. They are exploiting the resources. One example is the biggest, the Chahbar International Seaport. And in this part, which China is involved, the Balochistan seaport is called Gwadar. It is $1 billion project. China is there, and the Baloch people resisted. What happened is during this resistance, the Pakistani army and China colluded with the Pakistani army. We considered them involved with committing the human rights violations. And they completely whipped out on the highway area of the local Baloch people and their nomad area in the remote region. They led them to be internally displaced. Until today, they have never been compensated. And whoever resisted, they were being arrested. My activism is based on my being a member of Baloch student organization and the student life in the University of Balochistan. And all students are member of Baloch student organization. That's like one institution which produced the Baloch to go to defend their legitimate and their rights, to defend their culture and identity, their resources, and obviously further the education. And it started from there. But in here, I would like to say I cherish the freedom of Canada, where I educate the human rights activities. And my belief is the freedom of expression, freedom of expressing yourself is a gift which we don't have there, because over there you are denied the freedom of expression, freedom of opinion, freedom of association. Like many our activists, only because of that, they have been a victim of arbitrary arrest. Our local journalists who expressed themselves, and they were being extrajudicially killed. The Karima Baloch, as far as from the information, what we gather, the conclusion says that mysteriously she was killed. I would like to bring it up from the Baloch human rights activist perspective. So this is a state-backed killing. So the investigation is, the result is not completely clear, though the family knows better. How the state is after the Baloch activists and our other leaders, their lives are in risk, even in overseas. This is actually we keep expressing ourselves, because recently the Baloch activists, when they saw 1,000 Baloch females, men, and victim families, when they came all the way to Islamabad, it got attention. Although the state-backed media doesn't give coverage, they were abused, They were arrested. They were water cannoned by the police in the capital city. Old women, elders, and they are not allowed in the National Press Club outside on the tent in the cold weather, similar in that time like in Vancouver. They were there more than 1 month, but still they did not get the coverage. They were threatened, they were harassed, their food was not allowed in the camp, their speaker was stolen inside the camp, front of them, their video. So these are all harassment. And these are the thing right now, the Balouch, that's why the UK, the parliamentarian, they noticed and they brought up this in their parliament. They are supporting, they are showing solidarity. And also they hold on the social media, the talks. And this is what we are looking forward. You know, Canada is proud to defend the human rights and self-rule and democracy around the world. Today, the Balochistan deserve the Canadian government attention, the parliamentarian, to hear us like the UK parliamentarian are doing, and especially the public and civilians. You know, we are activists. We know. I believe the Canada also can do the same like, the UK did. Why not? Why not Canada send a fact-finding mission? Independent, impartial, include whoever they want. Really, they have the resources. You know, according to the UN, Canada has always been a human rights defender country around the world. Right now, has the Barrick Gold company is involved with the Pakistan. Obviously, they only, the every companies, they care about their profit. I did some research and we do some research about those mine companies. Barrick Gold doesn't have good the reputation, and some other part where there are many human rights violations happen where they have the projects. So they should know that, because Balouch do not accept exploitation of their resources without their consent. So that's why we request these things should be considered. Canada do not overlook the ground reality. And we do not let it's gonna be under the rug. Balouchs are fully determined. Balouchs are determined to defend by all means, peacefully. They are resisting as well. And parallelly, because their identity is in rest. So they do not want to let their homeland, their language, their culture, air resources, rights to be violated until 70 years is enough example for international community to understand how we are being treated as a colony. Unfair.